ओमज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः. Today I'm going to read the book Japa 9 Keys from the Shishtashtaka Virijan Prabhu. Back to basics. Namashriya is the foundational goal of our chanting. We should chant Krishna's names and avoid all nama aparadas, especially in attention. Seeing the limitations of our own sincerity and abilities, we should humbly seek shelter in Krishna's holy names and bathe our consciousness in their mercy. Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Namaiva Kevalam, Kalau Nasteva, Nasteva, Nasteva Kediranyada. In this age of quarrel and hypocrisy, the only means of deliverance is chanting the holy name of the Lord. There is no other way, there is no other way, there is no other way. Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela 17.21. Chapter 14. Progressing from Nishtha to Ruji, the consciousness of one at the level of Nishtha. Why do we chant Krishna's holy names? What moves us to chant? Is it because it feels good? Because we promised we would? Because chanting has become our habit? Despite any public response we might have to this question, those of us who contemplate the question seriously probably have a private response to it as well. That private response reflects the level of our advancement. In his Madhurya Kadambini, Srila Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakura describes the consciousness of devotees fixed in their shelter, surrendered to Krishna. Devotees at the level of Nishtha, at the stage of Nishtha, one can detect the spiritualization of the consciousness in many ways, but the materialistic influence is still prominent. Prayaki, page 59. At Nishtha, there is still a trace abhasa of attraction to mundane topics, but although traces of the qualities born of Rajoguna and Tamoguna may be present, they no longer affect the devotee. Madhurya Kadambini, page 35. These lingering effects may not impel a fixed soul to perform inappropriate activities. Nonetheless, they are troublesome because they conflict with the purity of his heart, just as the grit of sand on the floor hampers the feeling of auspiciousness one has in an otherwise clean room. Complete purity means removing even the smallest grains of sand from the consciousness. Srila Prabhupada writes, by his practical example, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has shown us that all the grains of sand must be picked up thoroughly and thrown outside. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also cleansed the outside of the temple, fearing that the grains of sand would again come within. In this connection, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakura explains that even though one may become free from the desire for fruitive activity, sometimes the subtle desire for fruitive activity again comes into being within the heart. One often thinks of conducting business to improve devotional activity, but the contamination is so strong that it may later develop into misunderstanding, described as Udinadi, fault finding, and Pradishta, the desire for name and fame and for high position, Jiva Himsa, envy of other living entities, Nishiddhachara, accepting things forbidden in the Shastra, Kama, desire for material gain, and Puja, hankering for popularity. The word Utimati means duplicity. As an example of Pradishta, one may attempt to imitate Srila Haridas Thakur of living in a solitary place. One's real desire may be for name and fame. In other words, one thinks that fools will accept one to be as good as Haridas Thakura just because one lives in a solitary place. These are all material desires. A neophyte devotee is certain to be attacked by other material desires as well, namely desires for woman and money. In this way, the heart is again filled with dirty things and becomes harder and harder, like that of a materialist. Hearing and chanting Krishna's holy name in the association of devotees causes our Krishna conscious desires to increase. Our humility then deepens as we become painfully aware of whatever impurities still remain hidden in our hearts. We may still have desires springing from our long association with passion and ignorance, but devotees on the level of Nishta do not wish to cultivate those desires. They don't want them fulfilled. Rather, they deeply desire only to attain Krishna's service. Their sincere desire for him attracts Krishna to purify them further and avoid taste. The journey from Nishta to Ruji. In the fifth chapter of his Madhurya Kadambini, Srila Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakura gives an illuminating description on the journey from Nishta to Ruji. What can I say? I am unfortunate, for I am the lowest criminal. Through, though I have received the mercy of my spiritual master, I have not understood its proper value. Instead, I have been wandering everywhere, and in that way, I have wasted my life. Keeping a precious jewel tied in the hem of my cloth, I have been searching out a cracked quarry, a spot of false happiness between the banks of the river of material engagements, not practicing any anga of bhakti. I have simply manifested lack of energy. So deceitful am I. Such is my sense of taste that I lick up acrid tasting profane gossip like nectar and remain apathetic to hearing the names, qualities, and pastimes of the Lord. How unfortunate I am. When I start to hear about the Lord, I comfortably fall asleep, and at any opportunity for vulgar discussion, I prick up my ears and become wide awake. In this way, I have contaminated the assembly of devotees and everything else. Old and bent as I am, what sinful act have I not performed simply for the satisfaction of my insatiable belly? I do not know what type of hell I will have to suffer in for all my activities. In this way, the devotee despise over his precious state of consciousness, feeling revealed disgust. Hare Krishna. In summary, there are there are many aparadhas or offenses. This paragraph talks about Nama Aparadha. It emphasizes on Nama Japa, the chanting of Krishna's holy names, as a foundation of spiritual practice. This involves chanting Krishna's names while diligently avoiding Nama Aparadha or offenses towards the holy name. Nama Ashraya should be the goal of our chanting, which is a shelter of taking shelter on holy name. We should hear the transcendental sound of the mantra. Nama Aparadha is one of the main cause of suffering for devotees. Mind wanders like a monkey jumping from one topic to another. Arjuna says in Bhagavad Gita, Chanchalam hi manha Krishna. It is easy to control the wind, but not the mind. Another cause of suffering is because of our ignorance. We forget our real identity as the eternal servant of Krishna. Jivere Swarupa Krishna Nityera Krishna Das. The verse Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama Eva Kevalam underscores the absolute necessity of this practice in Kali Yuga, asserting that chanting the holy name is the sole path to spiritual deliverance. We have to take shelter on the Bhakti, Bhagavan, and Bhagavatam. Next paragraph talks about devotion from Shraddha to Prema. Shraddha is confidence and Prema is the pure love of Krishna. Nishta is the fifth stage, which is the steadiness in devotional service. Then comes Ruji or taste in devotional service. At the Nishta stage, devotees are fixed in their surrender to Krishna, but subtle material desires still linger, hindering complete purity of the heart. Through sincere chanting and hearing in the association of devotees, a deep awareness of these impurities arises, leading to humility and a strong desire for Krishna's service. This intense longing attracts Krishna's mercy, initiating the journey towards Ruji. This transition involves a process of self reflection, disgust towards past materialistic tendencies, and a gradual immersion in Krishna Katha. In the association of devotees, ultimately this leads to the awakening of Ruji or taste in devotional service. Hare Krishna.